Well, good morning, my friends. El Furtado, the Rebel Turner, and I'm back and do some miscellaneous stuff and some fun stuff. And the fun stuff is going to happen right there on the lake. So, as you can just see off the side of the camera over there, I already have a slab of some sort over here ready to go. But as usual, nothing is ever perfect. And, you know, and we see what comes out of it. Now, this is very obvious. It's going to be just a bowl. But is it just a bowl? Let's get started. Usual, you know the drill. Spare drive, right inside my chuck. But anyway, I got a piece over here of a crotch, and I am not sure the species of wood. It's been in here since I started turning. Basically, I know that it was one of my first finds that I found, but I don't know what it is. And at one time I could tell every piece of wood that I had, where it came from, and a little bit of its background story. This particular one, the yard that I picked it up from had a lot of mixed woods. And when I started cleaning this up and started turning it, this became very red in color. So looking it up, and it actually might be, some local redwood. Alright, that's in there pretty well. It's pretty well divided. It's a little short on this side than it is on that side. And I don't know if I want to do anything with it. Well, anyway, this piece, gosh, decisions, that's what it's all about, is deciding. But not deciding what you came up with in your initial idea, but deciding on what it is that the wood has to offer. What is it telling me? It's actually telling me that this wants to be the top. And if I go this route, it's going to end up with just a basic bowl. So I'll listen to what the wood is telling me, and I will go turn this around and make that the top. Now when I do this as the top, how I mount it becomes slightly different, because what I'm looking at is making sure that the back side of this is parallel. So once I start turning it up, I'm not going to end up with this wing way up in the air and these completely lost. So these are fairly close in height, and you can see that I got it parallel, regardless of what's happening up on this face. This will all get trued up, and it will come up to basically here by the time it's said and done, squared, and I make my 10. So let's get started. The decisions we make up front do get you started in the direction that the wood wants to go, but then the rest is all determined by your cuts, and at what point do you say this is where it's going to go, and not follow up with a preset or a mindset that's going to force you to do something. I will go and I'll start bringing this over towards the top, seeing at what point it's hitting up the very top so it becomes natural top edge, no bark, this has no bark, and decide on what shape to make the bottom. That is strictly something that's up to individual taste. Whether if you make it roundish like, or whether if you make it flared out, small base, big base, whatever you want to do, that becomes up to you. And also going with the style that you start off with of the bowl or of the wood. Let's get started. Speed fairly slow. Until I get it balanced. So go get yourself a cup of coffee and enjoy the show. Now this has taken a beating the last couple of days over here, so I'm gonna quick sharpen it. to look and see what's going on. Are you going to be happy with the overall shape? Are you going to want to modify anything? Now would be the time. If you wanted to make a slight change, off-centering this or whatever you wanted to do, like I said, now would be it. I still got a flat part here, and I'm making cuts here, so I have to go a little deep in this whole bottom section. Speed is at 650 RPM. So you can see I got about the same thickness here, here, and just a little bit more here, which just means this part is probably a slight bit shorter than these two ends. So I got a little bit more to go. I do like the shape that's going on. So let me see where I'm going to end. I might end up before I end up all the way up here and just catch up on the natural shape that it would create over here without being a straight cut. Almost there. Good. So I brought it all the way up to the top edge, and it's going to be a nice looking bowl. It might even have a little bit of a wow factor. There we go. It looks good. Time to go in here. Now this is a fast turn. I'm assuming this bowl will be done from beginning to end in about an hour and 15 minutes. With sanding and all. Get rid of all those higher lumps. Sand it smooth, the cuts will be smoother. There we go. Nice. Good thickness all the way down. Sanded 80 grit, 220, and steel wool. And I believe this is some local grown Indian rosewood, which I found in, actually asked the owner of this house, was clearing some land, if I could have some wood, and buried in there amongst all kinds of wood was just one log of this very old, very weathered piece of wood. And on the first turnings that I did out of this log, which was, I believe I did a cutting of the log, which was get the best from your woods. It was one of my early videos, or how to get the best, yeah, something of that sort, which was a lot of bandsaw work, me cutting all this down into blanks. So from the first turnings I did, because I did not know what type of wood I was dealing with, it was suggested by some fellow woodturners that this was probably Indian rosewood. And upon looking it up to somewhat verify is like, is it even available in my area? Well, yeah, not very common, but there are some trees in the area, Indian rosewood. It's a softer species than I would think it would have been. I would have thought that this would have been like the stuff that I've dealt with in the past that was Indian rosewood, and that thing was like rock. But this, again, it had been weathered for many years. Cuts down, just left in between the woods. And it's one of those logs. I probably still have a couple of pieces laying around with this. And the finish will be the OB shine juice. You're wondering, why do I use it so much? It really is my favorite finish. It just gives it a different type of a luster. Not super gloss, but a nice deep luster in the wood. It really does bring out the beauty of the wood to the top. But whatever you're using, and if you're happy with it, then you're using the right stuff. I haven't experimented with a lot of different things. I mean, I have experimented, but didn't find on what I've attempted or experimented with, I have not found it to be as consistent as this. Here's a beautiful, beautiful bulb. The gloss is not coming up quite as high as I was hoping on this piece, which means that I would have to sand it down to grits that I really don't want to do it. I've sanded this one down to 320. And I put steel wool in between that, and it should have been more than enough. But this redwood, Indian rosewood, I mean, is somewhat absorbent. Actually, pretty absorbent. So it soaks up just about any finish that I really apply to it. Now, this is how I do my finishing off of my base. To me, it works out well as long as I'm not going out here and reshaping the piece. So if I'm just focusing on the center, it's always there. It's 99% of the time, it's exactly where I need it to be. So, turn it on. Don't need to go super fast anymore. You're back in between centers and you're just taking away this space. Can we ever buff too much? Probably not. Anyway, I have reached my limits on how much I want to buff. But you do it as much as you want and to achieve the look that you're looking for. Anyway, here's the perfect, you could almost say it's heart-shaped. So, ideal for Valentine's gift. You get a crotch, and automatically, when you turn it on as a natural edge, it's going to create somewhat of a heart-shaped bowl. So if you want to give your Valentine something really special, go ahead, draw a crotch log up, and you'll be amazed at what comes out of it. Well, this piece is what I believe to be rosewood. Now, I've had it in the shop maybe for 4 or 5 years. It was one of my early finds when I started wood turning. Beautiful coloration, very deceiving when you first pick it up and start cutting into it as to how it's going to look once you apply your finish. Once you apply your finish, it's a completely different animal. Whether if it's a rub-on, whether if it's a polyurethane, whether if it's shellac, lacquer, any moisture that you put into this piece of wood just pops with fire red color. Beautiful, beautiful wood grain. The cuts look clean, they look decent. The wood is somewhat absorbent, so even with applying the Yorkshire grit for sanding, and then once you start applying the OB Shine Juice, you're going to find that you have some dull spots. So in this particular case, I went back and I applied another coat of Yorkshire grit, got it in there, and maybe 4 or 5 times applying the OB Shine Juice on this. Now, it's not super glossy, but it's got these deep reflections. And there, when you look at the piece, you don't get a of yourself on it. So it's a kind of just brings out the wood grain from inside out without distracting and making it a top shine. And it's very much true both inside and out. Well, don't forget, if you like it, share it with your friends. And that means on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, whatever medium you use, Instagram, you know, share it, and that helps me a great deal. And of course, don't forget, if you like it, give me the thumbs up and comment below. Thanks for watching again. This is 2 turnings on this weekend. Very unusual for me these days. Till next time, Rebel Turner signing out. Take care.